Hi, welcome to the Adama Clay Studios at Bethel Horizons. I'm Jennifer Malley, the director, and this is another small demo project in our series that we're presenting during this time. And today I'd like to share my scone recipe with you. And I've been making these for probably 30 years, and they're one of my favorites. What we're going to start with today is I'm going to explain the ingredients. So you're going to need flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt. You're going to need butter, an egg, some dried fruit, and it also helps to have a little milk or cream on hand if the recipe needs to be a little more moist. So I'm going to start our demonstration with, I've already got 2 cups of just white plain flour in this bowl, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of white sugar. Okay. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a half of a teaspoon, where's my half teaspoon, of salt. Okay, when we have that dry ingredients, we're just going to mix them all together. Like that. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 3 tablespoons of butter, and this butter is at room temperature, and I'm going to use a pastry cutter, and I'm going to cut the 3 tablespoons of butter into the dry mixture. I'm just going to take it apart in bits first. Just going to break it up, and then I'm going to mix it in with the pastry cutter till it gets kind of to a crumbly consistency. Okay. So here's my pastry cutter. Okay, after this point, we're going to just set this aside for a minute, and we are going to, let's add the dry fruit. So I like dried pineapple, I have some apricot, I have some dried cherries in here. Anything would work. So you could use currants, raisins, anything. The recipe, official recipe, calls for about a half cup. I have a little bit more than that just because that's what I like in my scone. So I'm going to dump that in and mix this around. Okay. Now I'm going to set this aside, and in another bowl I'm going to crack 1 egg. And add to it 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. So I'm going to mix these together to get kind of a creamy mixture. And then I'm going to add this to the dry ingredients. So I'm going to add a little bit at a time and get it mixed together. The point is to get it to a dough consistency that you can actually pick up and form into a ball. And I find that normally using the third of a cup of sour cream and an egg doesn't quite give me enough moisture. And the recipe does mention that if you need more moisture, you can add a little bit of milk or cream. So I'm going to mix this up, and I can see already that I'm going to need to be adding some more moisture. So this is where I'd added a little half and half here. So right now you can see it's crumbly, but it's not to the consistency where I could pick it up. So I'm going to, and I can't tell you how much, but you know that you may need. I think you're going to need maybe 2 tablespoons, possibly. If you're not going to need too much, I would think. Let's see what I can. So almost there. Okay, so when it gets to this consistency, it's about ready to be able to pick it up and form a ball. In the meantime, get a baking pan, and it needs to be greased. So I've pre-greased this already. So you just put butter on it or a spray oil on it. While you're doing this, we don't have an oven here, obviously, but you would want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. So while that oven's preheating, we will prep the scones on this pan. So I am able to take the dough and get it into a workable ball like this. And what I'm going to do is take the pan, you're going to place the dough in the center of the pan, and you're going to pat it into a circle that's about an inch thick. It's about 8 inches maybe in diameter. You don't want to work it too much because you want a nice fluffy scone when you're done. So I'd say it's about like this when you're done. And then sprinkle the top with some sugar. Okay, now before it goes into the oven, we are going to cut it into these triangles. And I usually cut it into eight triangles. And then after these are cut, I'm going to separate them on the pan. So I have just a little spatula here, and I'm going to take each one of these and just move them apart from each other. Just like this. So when you get to this point, you can put it in the oven. It takes at 400 degrees, preheated oven, it takes between 10 to 15 minutes to cook these. This morning, mine took about 15 minutes. At 10 minutes, they looked fairly cooked, but I wanted a nice brown surface on them. So after 15 minutes, these are how the scones come out. So I hope you enjoy these, enjoy making these. I will post the actual recipe on the Adama Clay Studio website, and you can print it off from there. And our website is adamaartstudio.org. Thank you for watching my demo, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.